All right, new questions for special counsel Robert Mueller's legal team probing Russian meddling following recent revelations that several of his hires have contributed heavily to Democrats. The newest addition, a top public corruption prosecutor who recently worked for Preet Bharara, the former U.S. attorney who has emerged as a prominent Trump critic ever since his firing. Watch this.
From where I stand here, it looks to be about 1 to 1.5 million people. So how many people remember the dramatic moment on The Apprentice every week when Donald Trump sat at the conference room table, manned up, looked the contestant directly in the eye, and said in that voice, "Would you kindly submit your letter of resignation?" You don't drain a swamp with a slogan. You don't drain it by replacing one set of partisans with another. You don't replace muck with muck.
He would know.
And it's not just zingers. And it's not just put-downs. Bharara recently saying there is enough evidence to start an obstruction case against the president. Watch him here.
I think there's absolutely evidence to begin a case. I think it's very important for all sorts of armchair speculators in the law to be clear that no one knows right now whether there is a provable case of obstruction. It's also true, I think, from based on what I see as a third party and out of government, that there's no basis to say there's no obstruction.
You know, I'm going to the judge first.
Yeah, I was looking here.
If I say, as a judge, if I said to a defense attorney, how do I know your client didn't commit murder? You know, how do I know to the prosecutor that he did? Look, here's the bottom line. Preet Bharara is a disgruntled ex-employee. Preet Bharara is someone who has put his top lieutenant into Mueller counsel team. Mueller is like this with Jim Comey. Mueller as special counsel has an obligation to assess the credibility of Jim Comey versus the President of the United States. Right then and there is a conflict. There is a fundamental conflict. And Mueller and Comey have taken the national stage many times in the past, including with John Ashcroft in that hospital room many years ago during the Bush administration. Now, Mueller is packing his team, looking to indict anyone he can with anti-Trump people, specifically people who have not only supported Hillary Clinton, but have given Hillary Clinton money. And now we've got this Preet Bharara person who is in there with an agenda. This is a problem. We cannot have, and for Preet Bharara to say, I mean, come on, Preet, for him to say that we are substituting one group of partisans for another. Look, Democratic presidents have fired U.S. attorneys when they come in and there are Republicans in, and vice versa. This is nothing new. He's got sour grapes, and they are gunning for Donald Trump.
So what should what should our president do?
Here's the thing. If we have a Saturday night massacre, there's going to be a problem. All right, but I cannot imagine that any executive or anyone who's a target of an investigation, of people looking and going out and saying there's absolute evidence to start an investigation, that's hogwash. We've been doing this for 9 months now. Nobody's come up with anything, including Jim Comey under oath. So if they start going the grand jury route, because make no mistake, Mueller has access to a grand jury as special counsel, then the president has a big decision to make.
But, Judge, if they're stacking the deck in their own favor using people who have given large amounts of money to the Clintons and the Democrats, how is that legal?
It is legal because it's then up. So if I'm a judge, right, and the defense attorney comes in and he says to me, the prosecutor is doing X, Y, and Z, I have the ability to say, you know what, you're off the case, or I'm going to recuse myself. There is no judge who is overseeing this. It is Donald Trump who has the power to end it, and I'm sure that this is a very delicate balance for him. He doesn't want the Saturday night massacre, but he is the only one who can change it, since now they've got Mueller in the middle of this.
Wow. He's in a tough spot.
He's in a very tough spot.